the common types of SAP projects and their key deliverables. In this video, you'll learn about the different types of SAP projects, the project phases of each type, and some of the milestones that an SAP project encompasses of. The video is divided into the following topics. What are the key types of SAP projects? What are the key phases of SAP projects based on each project type? What are the key milestones of SAP projects? Let's start looking at the different types of SAP projects. And we will have a look at the most common type, which you will also find within the SAP methodologies, which we will explain to you in later lessons. So basically, we have two areas. We have implementation projects and we have upgrade projects. And under each, you can either have a local or a global rollout project. And basically, the combinations apply to all. So you can implement local global, you can upgrade local global. So this is a quite simple mapping. So let's have a look at each of the different types. Let's start out with the key project phases for a local implementation project. So this is the traditional SAP project where we go from project preparation, business blueprint, through realization where we build the solution, final preparation, and then finally go live and support. And as you can see here, the key tasks that is going to happen in each of these phases, which just mentioned, is that you initiate the project, you decide your design, you implement, test, and verify it, and then you finalize it and go live. So this is what a classic local implementation project implementing SAP looks like. Moving on, if we put on the global rollout dimension, here you have the same phases, but as you will see, it is now a global and program preparation. It is no longer a project. And this is because here you need to plan your global SAP program. And the program instead of a project is because here you will have multiple, expect that you will have multiple rollouts and some of them might be running in parallel, and therefore you now are looking at a program. So just to recap what a program is a number of projects that share the same strategic goals. And in this case, it is to implement SAP, and it is divided into multiple projects or rollout streams under that to achieve the goals of designing and rolling out your SAP project. So here in the first phases, you actually prepare the entire global design. So you have a global business blueprint phase where you will go through the same activities preparing your design. Then you will have a realization and you will have final preparation. The only difference is that you need to factor in that this solution has a wider scope, a global scope, a global reach, and that has to be factored in some part of how you design and build and prepare your project for implementation or for go live. Last one is then the global rollout. And here you will normally on a global rollout, you will have one proof of concept location or more. And after that is done successfully, you consider your template verified and validated. And then you go into, as it mentioned here in red, you go into a process of conducting the subsequent rollout of that template to the remaining global locations. So the tasks are the same. You need to have a global mindset and you need to do some additional steps in order to tailor or prepare your template and your design for a global rollout. The last one is for an upgrade project. And here, let's first discuss what we consider an upgrade. An upgrade is not activating additional SAP processes. That would be a local or global implementation. It is you take some existing process and you upgrade it to a new version. And when I say version, that means an SAP version. or you upgrade something else and another component in your solution, which might require you to validate certain part of the SAP. But it is not to add functionality, and it is not to add locations or business functions. It is taking the existing solution and upgrading one or more components in that solution to a new version, new build, depending on what the component is, or the terminology depends on what the component is. And here you can see you have the same phases as for the local implementation. This is for the controlling and for the to ensure that you run through each consideration and each task, nothing missed. But in this one, it is with a different focus. So it is only to specify in the preparation what are the scope that will be impacted. Then during upgrade business blueprint, you document what are the target processes and you check that those will work. Again, when you now come with the new version, some might need to be modified a little bit, but you don't change the overall process. And the second one is that now you build, so those changes identified, you need to build them and you need to test them. Final preparation is delta training. Note that it is not training because we are not adding any new processes. It's delta training in is the existing process different after we have upgraded this or these components. So it is delta training as well as the data conversion. There might be delta data conversions, but there should be no initial data conversion activities as you know it from the implementation, because you are already running SAP. You already have it in your processes in the SAP environment. And then you go live with not an SAP go live and announce, but you go live with simply a new version of a certain component. There might be because the component is new, some new functionality provided. That's okay, but you don't add in new processes. Example, you are upgrading your financial processes. You don't add in manufacturing or logistic, the SAP supply chain processes. That would be an implementation project for the supply chain. But for the finance, which you're already running in SAP, you can upgrade them, tweak them to work with the new version of SAP or other components that you're upgrading, and then you publish that to the end users, the existing end users, and then your upgrade is completed. So that is the three main types of projects. If you look at you refer back to the SAP methodology: local, global implementation, and then upgrade projects. And here we try to list the key milestones, and I'll basically just highlight the differences. So in the local implementation project, you have a go live as the end objective. In the global rollout, your end objective is you have a solution built and tested that is production ready. Now, for the proof of concept locations, yes, you will have a go live, but for all rest, you have a validated solution. And then the second step that you add on is the subsequent rollout and hand over to the local organization. And this, because it could happen in parallel, which is often do, and at least with some overlap, you will then call this a global rollout program, because you have multiple rollout streams sharing the same strategic, or rollout projects sharing the same strategic objective. The upgrade project is a little different here, as we just mentioned before. You are going through, and the end result is that you have a delta. You identify the delta task you need to do within training, data conversion, testing. You get that done, and then you deploy it to production where you are already running SAP. So it is not to add anything new. It is to upgrade as it says, any existing processes. Perhaps the upgrade will come with new functionality as part of adding in the new components, but you are not adding any new processes. With that, we'll just do a summary, and you should now have an understanding of what are the most common types of SAP projects and what are the phases of these projects, how do they match each other, and a quick overview of what are the milestones that needs to be clearly defined in the project plans for each of these different types. And we will have supporting materials available for download around the project types. Thank you.